Uh, and the idea with the scaling of your business was to look at the blueprint of what your business should look like when it grows. And so we went deeper into that, even though we didn't have enough time. So today I thought, let me rather, look at how do you, knowing how the blueprint of your business will look like as it grows, how then do we build systems and processes in your business so that this business can grow as it scales? It's got the right foundation, it's got the right tools, it's got the right processes, and it's got the right systems in place. So, and this is one of the fundamental things that entrepreneurs at the beginning struggle with when they start their businesses. They don't start with the end in mind. And the end in mind being a business that's already running with a team of people with its own systems and processes in place. So we are going to look at about 6 things. What does it mean working on your business, working in your business? And I'm sure some of you have seen this. But I think no matter how many times you have seen this, and no matter how many times I also give this type of a session, I always get reminded, or I always get, I always get inspired that I also need to implement some of the things that I may have forgotten, or some of the things that I may have missed out. So I find that it's always important to be reminded of some of these concepts. So, we're going to be looking at working on the business, working in your business. We're going to look at what is an asset of value, and what are systems, building a system. How do you then build the system of delivery? What is the importance of having a team, and how does the team fit in? And how do you spend your time? And I think that's also very important. Where do you spend your time? How do you spend your time as you are building this? Right. So let's start with working in your business. So what often happens as you start your business, and some of you might hear, some of you might have passed this, you may have passed this phase. But when you start your business, you and the business are one. You are the same thing. You are the receptionist. You are the marketing person. You are the operations person. You are the finance person. You are the HR person. You are everything. You do the tea. You clean the dishes. You do everything in the business. So you and the business are one. And the challenge with this type is if you are not in the business, if you're not at work, if you're not working, nothing happens, right? We have to wait for you. I always say, when I have sessions with my entrepreneurs, I always say, how many days can you take away from the business before it hits a crisis that needs you? And if you can't take 2 days, 3 days, 4 days off the business, and it can run without you and not hit a crisis, right? You are not an entrepreneur. You are still self-employed, right? Because the business is relying on you. You and the business are one. So you are self-employed. You are not an entrepreneur. Why? Because an entrepreneur is somebody who builds a business that can run without. An entrepreneur is somebody who makes money while they're still sleeping, right? An entrepreneur is somebody who makes money. They can go on holiday, right? They can go attend a conference, right? They can decide to stay at home, get into a car, drive to some city, and the business will still run. Now, if you can't do that, if you can't take time off the business and the business runs without you are still not an entrepreneur. You're still what we call self-employed. The business has employed you. And it's a very difficult because if you're this type of an entrepreneur who's self-employed, should you fall sick, the business can make money. Should you, or for some reason, pass away, the business is also going to die with you, right? So there isn't a business, there's you, right? And the biggest challenge with this type of approach is people start and run their businesses for a very long time. Apologies. They start their businesses and run their businesses for a very long time, thinking that they're entrepreneurs, whilst actually they're self-employed. And they get to their retirement stage, they can't retire and and enjoy their old age. They can't, because if you leave the business, there's no money coming in because you are the business. Where are you going? What are you going to do at home? Because this business needs you. Without you, there is no business, right? And it's sad because by the time you get to 60, 65, when you get to retirement age, you then realize that actually I was not an entrepreneur, I was self-employed. If I retire, this whole operation can operate. It can't work without me. And you find yourself in a situation where you can't. Your business holds you hostage. You want to have money for groceries, you want to have money for rent, you want to have money for toiletries, go to work. You are 65 by that time. And it didn't dawn on you that all this time when you are thinking you're an entrepreneur, actually you're self-employed. Because nothing happens with it. You can't even sell this business, right? Because you are the business. So if you sell the business, you're in essence selling yourself. Because whoever is going to come and buy this business, they're going to put a clause in the contract that you must remain in the business for at least 2 years or 3 years. And the terms of payments will be in such a way that they pay half of the purchase price or selling price, and they'll pay the other half after 2 years when you have stayed and handed over. So in other words, that 2 years, they are forcing you to build a business that can run without, right? So it's important to understand the dangers of being trapped in thinking that you're an entrepreneur while you are actually self-employed. And you don't want to realize that later in your life when you're supposed to retire. Or when something happens to you and you become incapacitated and you can't run the business because no one knows what's happening in the business, right? Except, so you start being anxious. When you go on holiday for 2 months, you start being anxious. But I have to get back to work because there's no money coming in because I'm not at work. And that should be a sign that you are actually self-employed. You're not an entrepreneur, right? Entrepreneurs are people who can build this thing, hand it over to someone else to run it for them, and they can do whatever they want to do with their time. That's the true essence of it. It's what do you do with your time, right? It's not, people think entrepreneurship is financial freedom. Actually, entrepreneurship is the freedom that your asset gives you in terms of time, all right? You are paying other people to run your operation so that you can spend your time doing whatever you want. That's what entrepreneurship is about. Of course, there's financial incentives to that, but ultimately, you own your time. You can do whatever you want to do with your time. And we have seen examples. Bill Gates has resigned a couple of years ago from Microsoft. He has decided, I'm going to appoint a CEO who's going to run Microsoft, Satya Nadella, and I'm going to form a foundation because I'm passionate about this area of fighting diseases, education, climate change. So I'm going to form a foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and I'm going to spend my time doing that. Where do I get the money? From, of course, there will be funders and donors, but also I'm going to tell Satya Nadella to give me money from Microsoft. I want X amount from the profits, right? I can do whatever I want with my time. Jeff Bezos has retired from Amazon a couple of months ago, right? He has appointed a CEO to run Amazon. He's going to now try and go to the moon. He's going to do whatever he wants to do with his time, right? But he has built a business that can run without him, and that business can still give him profits or dividends, whatever they can, or even a salary. It's his business, right? He managed to build it in such a way that it can run without him. Richard Branson does the same. He has built all these businesses, and they are able to run without him. And he can go around the world in a balloon, right? He decides what he wants to do with his time, right? That's entrepreneurship. You are building this thing that can run without you. The trap, though, or the danger with entrepreneurs who are egotistic, who want everything to rely on them, right? Because they feel that they're smartest in the room, and therefore everybody needs to go to them, is that you are actually making it impossible or even difficult for the business to run without you, because you're not empowering your team members to start running with certain responsibilities in your absence. And for a number of reasons, you're an insecure leader, right? You're insecure. You think if I teach these guys, they're going to leave with the skill. If I teach them, they won't be as good as I am, for instance, or they're going to steal my customers. And therefore, I'm not going to empower them. I'm going to hold on to the secret of everything in the business. I'm not going to train them. And what then happens is you find yourself 65 years old behind the team because you don't trust these brothers. They're going to steal from you. And what happens, you can't even retire. How are you going to retire from a business when you are afraid that people will steal from you? You don't have systems, you don't have processes. Something happens to you, God forbid, should you die, for instance, right? People don't know how to run this business, right? And what happens, the business is going to crumble and your legacy goes with you. So and that's what happens when you are working in the business. You and the business are one. You do everything. But of course, if you don't have a budget, right, to pay other people, obviously you don't have a choice but to do this thing yourself. You become the HR, you become the receptionist, you become the tea person, you become everything, right? You are working in the business because you don't have the budget. So you do everything, right? You and the business, or should you fall sick, the business is sick, right? When you're on holiday, the business is also on holiday because you are the business, right? So there's only, but the challenge with this thing is there's only one of you, so you can't take too many orders. You can't take too many clients. You can't grow this business beyond you because there's only one of you, and you can only do X amount. There's only 24 hours in a day, and after 10 hours, your energy level starts to dip, right? So even though you think you can do all these things by yourself, right? But in a day, you're going to get tired of it, and your productivity is going to go down. So because you do everything, you are the business and the business, and you find that the danger with that is, you become the bottleneck. So the business cannot grow, right? Because it's dependent on you, right? You can't take 10 deals, right? You can only take 2 deals because it's only you, right? And if you get 10 deals, you can't execute them, all of them, at the same time, right? It's like, if you go to the circus, there's a guy who throws the balls in the air, right? So he's got 3 balls that he can throw and juggle, right? And as you add more balls, right, you can maybe do 4, right? And maybe you can do 5. And that's like you've got 3 deals that you have. You can do 3 deals comfortably. And then maybe there might be another deal that comes and you can throw that with four deals in there. But at some point, because there's only one of you, there's only limited energy levels, there's only one 24 hours. What's going to then end up happening is there will be 6 or 7 balls that you have to juggle with, and you can't. And because you can't focus on 8 balls at the same time. So what ends up happening is like any person, when you can't do more than 6 balls, and we throw the 7th ball or the 8th ball, you're going to drop all the balls. You'll only be left with 2 in your hands because you can't go beyond a specific a specific level. So you become the bottleneck. The business cannot grow, above. It cannot get better. It cannot have more clients because you do everything in the business, right? So the idea really is to work on the business, not in the business. How then do you work on the business? You start systematizing and putting processes in place, right? You start writing down step by step. This is how we do our marketing. This is how we do our sales. This is how we execute the orders in terms of operations. This is how we do procurement. When we buy, office supplies or whatever that we buy for the business, this is the procedure. Our finance, this is the procedure that we need to follow. So you do that, you start writing those things down. And these are the things that you are currently doing. I'm not asking you to do something outside what you're currently doing, but I'm actually asking you to codify what you are currently doing, right? Be intentional about it, codify it, right? You wake up in the morning, you go do something, write it down as if you were to send someone else, you just give them instructions to say, follow this instruction and let's see what comes out on the other side. So it's in essence what you're currently doing. It's nothing outside of what you're doing. All that I'm asking you is to qualify. And unfortunately, as entrepreneurs, we run businesses from our heads. Our businesses are in here, right? Everything is in here. So when people want to know what's happening, they need to get in here. So should you fall sick, should you be in a hospital, your business is in your head. You do everything from your head. And you can imagine, so all the Mwana enterprise is in his head. Everything about Mwana is in his head. It's not written down. No one knows what's happening, right? And on the other side, Kamo, in the same head, the guy has got a personal life. He's got his wife, kids, he's got all family issues. All of them are in this head, all meshed up together in that head. Now you can imagine, it's so easy for him to miss out on something. When he's got family problems, it's so easy for those problems to affect the business because his business is his brain. His business is in his head. His business is not written down. The processes are not written down. He's the only person who knows what's happening for one. No one else knows, right? So if something, God forbid, happens, that's the end of one. Finish, because no one else can take over because the business is here in his head. So we need to try and move away from running our businesses from our heads and start qualifying and putting them down on paper, right? And building it in such a way that other people can come and easily take over and run the business. Like you can train them up for a few months, and from there they can run this without you. And that's what we call working on the business, on your business, right? So you're able to then separate yourself. And how do you do that? By building systems and processes. And then getting a team of people to run those systems. Then you are able to work on the business, not inside, right? You're able to focus on certain areas that you want. You are not doing everything, right? You're not negotiating deals. You are not closing deals. You are not executing deals. You're not buying stock. You're not invoicing. You are not collecting. You are not doing all these things. Basically, what you're doing is you've got systems and processes, and you have people who run with those divisions. And you can then decide how you want to spend your time. Maybe you want to spend your time doing business development, getting deals, and then once you get the deals, you then channel them to whoever is responsible in the business to execute. But even when you bring a deal into the business, there's a process that is followed, right, to execute that deal. And you're not the one who's doing that process. There are people who are executing those processes until the deal is fulfilled. So it's important to be crystal clear about and be intentional as well about taking your business out of your head and putting it down on paper and codifying it and building it in such a way that it can run it like you. And that requires you having systems and processes. So the idea is to move away from working in the business to working on the business. So you're separating yourself from the business, and the two are separate entities. The business can run on its own, and you can also have your own life as well. You know, people who are working in the business, they're always tired, they're always finished. They're one of those people when you die, when you sleep, you die. We can pick you up from your bed and move you outside, and you won't even hear a thing because you are finished, you are tired, you are doing all these things all by yourself. 24 hours is not even enough for you, but because you are working in the business. And what you need to do is separate yourself and work on the business. And we need to be intentional about this, colleagues, because it's not going to happen on its own. You need to plan it. You need to start putting down systems and processes and writing them down. And I know some people will say, I don't have a team members. Why should I do that? I'll do that exercise when the business grows and I get a team of people. Then I can do this exercise. The thing is, by the time the business grows, you're not going to have time to do these processes, right? You're not going to have enough time. You'll be under pressure to fulfill the orders, whatever deal that you have closed. You have to execute it immediately, which means you need to build a team immediately. And by the time you build a team, by the time the team comes through, they need to find systems and processes already written down, already tested, already corrected and fixed. By who? By you, because you are doing everything now. So why can't you, whatever that you're doing, write it down, put systems, test it, make sure that this is how I do my marketing in the business. This is how I do sales. This is how we do execution. And everything is written down. By the time the business grows, people come in, you start assigning responsibility. Here's how we do things here. Here's how we do marketing. Here's how we do sales. Here's how we do operations, right? And then they find systems there already and it becomes a plug and play, right? You don't wait to say, I'm going to do this exercise when I have more money and I need more people to help me. By that time, you're not going to have time, right? And what's going to happen is you're going to bring a team of people. They're going to come in there. They don't know how to do certain things. And you start delegating, right? You start delegating, you do this, you do this, you do this, right? They don't know how to do those things, right? And you get frustrated when they don't do those things according to the way you would have done it, right? And you get frustrated, you guys are useless. You can't even do the basics. Let me show you, right? You should have showed them before they come in. You should have put systems and systems before they come in. But and now you delegate too early. You delegate to people who don't know what's happening, right? Because you have been doing this for a very long time. You then assume that when you bring other people to do what you have been doing for a very long time, it will be easy, it will be seamless. Forgetting that you have mastered this thing for some time, right? And they are new to this thing. But because you have been doing it in your head, right, you assume that they should also get it immediately. It doesn't work that way. You need to codify, build this thing, build systems. When they come, they find systems ready, waiting for someone to execute. And what you do is you train them up on those systems, right? You train them up, give yourself a few weeks or so, train them up. Some people are very smart, they catch things quicker, right? Awesome. Some they take some time, you might need to spend some time training them up until they get it. And then you let go, right? You don't just give people instructions and let go. And you get shocked if they are unable to execute those instructions because you gave instructions without systems and processes, right? And we get frustrated, but I gave you instructions. How difficult can this be? It's difficult because they don't know how to do it, right? So you need to have those. Build it in such a way that by the time the team comes, they find systems and processes. When you give out instructions, you give out instructions that have systems and processes to assist them to execute your order. So I hope I'm making sense for you. So working on the business then means that you have a team of people that are able to do all these things and you can spend time doing whatever you want to do. So it's about you separating yourself from the business. But how do you separate yourself from the business? You build systems in the business. So that when you separate yourself from the business continues to run without you, right? And that's your get out of jail free ticket. You only leave the business when the business has got solid systems. So write down the step-by-step activities that should be followed. You are currently doing it now. When you propose, when you send out a proposal, for instance, what is the process for sending out a proposal? How do you source this client, this potential client? Write it down. It might sound like it's obvious to you. It might sound like this thing is so simple because you've been doing it for some time. You do it intuitively without even blinking. But someone else who comes in, they need to understand, okay, so step number one, right? I need to go online. I need to check government gazette. I need to check this, tender bulletin. That's step number one. Step number two, identify the tenders that are related to this. Step number three, draft a proposal letter or a document, tender, whatever. And the tender document needs to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's a checklist. That's step number three. Step number four, compile, print, whatever form, make sure that everything is ready. Number five, send to whoever for quality control to make sure that everything is included. Number six, deliver the whole thing to the prospective client or department. Seven, right, follow up after 2 weeks, right? So those step by step, they sound so obvious because you can do them with your eyes closed, right? But someone who hasn't been running your business, who's not been working for you, they can't do those things with their eyes closed, right? They might skip certain steps in there, and you're going to get frustrated to say, but this is common sense. Yes, for you, it's common sense, but we all know common sense is not common for everybody, right? And you start blaming other people for your own deficiencies because it is not built systems and processes. And you become impatient with your team members, right? Because you delegated too early. You don't have systems, you just gave out instructions without systems and processes. So it's important. Systems and processes are the foundation for a business that wants to grow. Don't even think about growing your business if you don't have systems and processes. Because if you grow without systems and processes, it's like you're building a house on a very shallow foundation. And should something happen, the first winds that come in, the whole building is going to collapse, right? Again, it's the balls. You can do 6 balls. We put other extra 2, all the other balls are going to fall, right? Because we don't have a solid foundation. So it's very important. And then once you have put down the systems and written them down and the processes, you then can bring a team of people, right? You then can start looking for people to come and employ. And those people are then going to run the system and they'll find assets, equipment in your business. So, and that's what makes a business: assets, equipment, systems, processes, and a team, right? Those are the 3 things that can release you from your business. And you need to be asking yourself, do I have this? Do I have the required assets? To run we spoke about this when we were doing the scale up canvas. As you're growing the business, do you have resources that are required? All right. So do you have those? Because if you go out there and ask for more clients and they come and they place orders and you don't have enough resources, you're going to find yourself disappointing some customers because you will not be able to deliver on time. And that's going to damage your brand. Right. So in essence, what I'm saying is you need to have capacity. What is capacity? Capacity is these 3 things: assets, systems and processes, and the team. That's what makes capacity. When we say to entrepreneurs, you don't have capacity, we basically mean that you don't have the things, right? So you want to grow your business, that's the foundation. Assets, equipment, building, whatever, depending on the type of business that you run. Systems and processes, and a team of people that knows what they are doing. And once you have this formula, so once you have this formula, you can then say, okay, I'm running this branch in Cabroni, for instance. We've got our assets, our equipment, we've got systems and processes, I've got a team, they all know what they're doing, everybody's working, we are good. You can take this formula, right? Copy it, and then paste it in Maung, for instance. Go to Maung and copy and paste this formula there. Because you've got the secret formula on how to run this business. You can copy this formula from Maung, take it to Kasani, take it to Francistown, to throw wherever. And what then happens is you've got 4 systems and processes, a team and assets. And then your business is able to scale, right? That's you can decide, no, no, no. I don't want to I don't want to own this as branches that I own. I want to franchise this concept out. Then I'm selling the franchise. A franchise is basically systems and process. That's what you are buying. And of course, there's a goodwill that you are buying from there. But in essence, you are buying the how to fried chicken in under the banner of KFC. Right? This is the process of how you do Streetwise 2. Right? Here's the packaging. Here's how you need to do this thing. Here's how the counter should look like. That's systems and processes, right? And that's in essence what you're doing. And KFC can open branches all over. McDonald's can open branches all over, right? Speaking of McDonald's, I mean, McDonald's has got the highest staff turnover globally, right, in the world. If there's one organization that's got the highest staff turnover, it's McDonald's, right? But Big Mac is the same. It doesn't change. How do you do that? Systems are important. So Susie can decide to leave today. John comes in tomorrow. Big Mac is the same. How do you do that? It's because you've got systems and processes that are clear, efficient, and they give you the same output over and over and over again. I can go to Japan and I want Big Mac. It should be the same as the Big Mac that I get in McDonald's in South Africa. It should be the same as the Big Mac that I get in the US. How do you do that? Systems and processes. It gives you uniformity. And as a result, you can copy and paste this all over the country, or even all over the continent. And this is what Americans get right? When they talk about go big or go home, they're talking about the ability to scale this. And they always ask, how do you scale this? How do you scale this? Right? And one of the things is, how are you able to build this in such a way that you are able to replicate it, right? And increase the revenue, because that's what this is about. How do I reach more customers? How do I get more profits? It's when you're able to replicate this in other areas. And one of the things that you need, critical things that you need when you want to replicate and grow your business, is solid systems and processes, which means you need to move away from working in the business to working on the business, right? It's not about you, right? It's about your ability to build systems, bring a team, delegate, and then let go. Slowly but surely let go. That's what entrepreneurship is about. It's not about you always being the hero taking the glory. It's about you being able to build something that can grow. So you need to constantly be asking yourself, how many days can I take away from the business that the business can run without you? That's always the test that you need to be looking for, right? If you can't take a day, you can't take 2 days off, 3 days off, right? It means the systems are not solid. So you need to find a ways of making the systems to be solid to a point where these guys you can even appoint an MD and they can run this thing without you. There's F&B Botswana, right? Lorik Dipenaro, JT Ferreira, or Paul Harris, they're in Stellenbosch. They're staying in Stellenbosch. The CEO of F&B Botswana knows what he needs to do. He's got systems and processes. He knows he was given a target. Here's the target for the year, go make it happen. You've got systems and processes. You've got a team. If you don't have a team, bring your own team. Here are the systems to bring your own team. Go run this thing. And they are in the beach there in Stellenbosch, enjoying the wines in the wine shop. That's what entrepreneurship is, right? Where you are able to stay F&B Botswana, F&B Namibia, F&B Zambia, F&B Ghana, all over, F&B Swaziland, Lesotho, whatever, right? They are in Stellenbosch. That's what true entrepreneurship is, right? So, and we need to start building businesses towards that, not building businesses around us, because we enjoy the limelight, we enjoy people giving us accolades, right? And we then start getting, drinking our own Kool-Aid. We forget that this is not about that. It's about you building this thing, empowering others, so that they can able to run with the business. So I need to move. Okay, so just goes. typing so far. I'm still trying to top up my laptop. Richmond, are you good?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Yes. Are you good? Is this making sense?
Yes, it's definitely making sense. Remember last time I was saying my main issue was with the whole team, having to motivate the team. And unfortunately, I got into this a bit late, but I managed to catch on that the way I run my business should be in a way that it can actually continue running even when I'm gone. So this has been very, very informative, and it's I'm gonna try and implement it. But I was hoping maybe I could have your email so that I can keep checking in, because it's not as easy when it's said.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. I mean, with Mr. Tigger's permission, I'm sure you can. I don't have an issue on my side, really.
All right, that sounds amazing.
Okay.
Okay, my laptop is frozen, so I'm gonna try and restart this thing. But I think let's
Vanessa, what are your comments? Are you good?
Morning. Yes, I'm very, very good. Really, really insightful. It's really, really insightful. Enjoying it, plenty. I can't express it. Thanks a lot.
What business are you in?
IT.
Vanessa? IT.
Yeah.
Okay, so you build softwares, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So, and I think also, I mean, this is also applicable to you as well, because if you're going to be working with a team, which in terms of IT, you are going to need a team of people. You're going to need, systems and processes that are as crucial to you as to somebody who's running a supermarket. Because
Definitely.
what you don't want is, especially with IT softwares, when you launch, there's launching, there's marketing,
Yeah.
there is a whole lot of this what do you call this, back office or back end? You call it
Back end work.
Yes. So there's all these things, and you can't, you're going to struggle to do this by yourself. So
Yeah.
you need to work with a team of people. And in you working with a team of people, you need to have systems first. You need to perfect this business by yourself first. Because you're already doing it anyway, before you can bring other people to come in and help you run the business. So it's very, very important. When I was at Deloitte, there was a division. I had an opportunity to work for a division where they actually do software development for text software, and I saw that happen in practice. So it's very, very important to have that separation and have people who are working on doing certain roles, and you also focus on doing others, because you're going to be unable to do everything by yourself. So yeah, it's applicable everywhere. Software, agriculture, retail, manufacturing is applicable everywhere. So yeah. Have you watched? I don't know if you watch Netflix. There's a series on Netflix called Startup. Anyone has watched Startup, Richmond?
Yeah, I've watched it. I was actually choking on a glass of water as you said this, because I keep thinking, why are we so much alike? Like, you're an accountant, and then you like the series. What's next? You just keep blowing my mind. Yes, I watched it twice actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
I really enjoyed it because it really resonated well with me because being a game developer, it's how
Yes.
that
Yes.
how that girl started with her code and then tried to scale
Yes.
up and then wasn't
Yes.
ready for the scale up, which meant the business
Yes.
fell and then started again. You know,
Yes.
those are actually based on what actually happens with me because I'd run my code, nobody would believe in me, and I have to like bootstrap. You have to keep fighting
Yes.
the good fight and then when they got ripped off by those big VCs, you know, these are things that we
Yes.
worry about in real life. And
Yes.
yeah, it really sat well. It resonated well with me there.
Yes. No, 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 definitely. I recommend it to Mr. Tekeri. He thinks I'm just joking. That thing is quite good, eh?
It's very good.
Um,
Yes.
it's very good. Vanessa, have you seen it?
Not yet, no, but I'll definitely look it up after this.
Yeah, you have to watch it. It basically shows you how to build a I mean, and I think that series was actually quite ahead of its time because when I look at when this thing started playing, it was way before this Bitcoin thing because the lady is building a Bitcoin software and I mean just the whole thing, you know, it's a class on it on how to build a software and the challenges and you know VCs and all these things and how to build a team and how to bring people. It's a class. It's a serious class on how to build a startup. So I'm trying to log into Zoom, so it's slightly slow. I hope it will open soon. Okay, so let me just continue. So how do you then, I mean, it's important to have systems and processes and how do you then, because ultimately the goal of this is to build what we call an asset of value, right? What is an asset of value? An asset of value is basically your business, right? So your business is an asset of value. Your business is something that is going to derive value for you, is going to derive value for others, is going to create wealth for you, right? So that's basically what you're doing. You are building an asset of value. And what makes an asset of value? I mean, obviously, the first thing that you get taught as a startup is, are you solving a problem? So this asset of value needs to be solving a problem, right? So it's important that your business solves a problem. You must identify a problem that people are struggling with, customer pain. If you have done your value proposition canvas, what is the customer pain, and then you then come with a solution to that pain, and that's where you derive value, right? So it's important to have that, right? So an asset of value, or what we call your business, should be able to do that. Mr. T, I don't know if I want to give myself, I'm running 2 accounts, so I want to give myself okay. Yes, I want to give myself co-host rights so that I can run the slides. Are you able to do that on the other account also? Give me a co-host. Mr. Tigger, I don't know if you can hear me. Mr. Tigere. Okay. Okay, now it's fine. Let's run. So an asset of value, because what you are basically doing is you are building an asset of value, right? Which is your business. So you look at your business and you say, okay, the ingredients for my business is it solving a problem, right? 1. 2, does it have systems and processes in place, right? 3, does it have a team of people, right? So it needs to have a team of people. 4, is there a leader? Is there somebody who is a leader, right? 5, can this appeal to funders? In other words, I mean, will people look at my business and say, this business is organized, this business is solving a problem, This business has got systems and processes. Everybody in there, they know what they need to do. And this business has got a manager or a leader, right? But also I can invest in this business, right? So number 5, can it appeal to funders? Or number 6, can you sell it? Are you able to sell this business, right? So it's critically important that an asset of value has got those 6 fundamentals, and then you are able to work out, am I building this in such a way that it's able to deliver value. So I need Mr. Tegere, are you there? Mr. T? Okay, I'm not so sure if he's there, but anyway. So that's an asset of value. So when you look at your business, ask yourself those questions. Is my business solving a problem? 1, 2, does my business have systems? 3, is there a leader or a manager, right? 4, is there a team? 5, can it appeal to funders? Or 6, can I sell this thing? Can I package it in such a way that I can sell this thing? So how then do you build systems and processes, right? 1, right? In fact, before we get to building systems and processes, there are 6 main parts of building a system and process. So 1, you need to have systems for marketing. 2, you need to have systems for sales. 3, you need to have systems for operations. 4, you need to have systems for procurement. 5, you need to have systems for people. And then 6, you need to have systems for finances, right? So it's important to have. So some businesses are different, right? And that's okay. But you need to, as you are building your business, so these are the 6 fundamental pillars. How do you market your business? Are there systems for that? How do you clinch deals? How do you convert prospective customers into actual realized signed customers, sales? How do you then, based on the sales that came into the business, how do you execute the orders, right? That's number 3, operations. Have systems for that. Number 4, there are things that we need to buy. We need to buy stock, we need to buy stationery, we need to buy software, we need to buy all these things. How do we buy things into this business, right? How do we check specials out there? How do we check if there are things that our stock levels have reached a reorder point? How do we check that our stationery, consumables and things like that are at a point where we need to buy? And before we buy, where do we shop? Who do we ask? What's the procedure? If I'm to send someone to say, look, we need milk here, all right? What's the procedure? Do they look for specials? How many boxes of milk do they buy? What's the procedure, right? Who signs the requisition forms? Who releases? Is there petty cash and all these things? 5, we need to recruit a team of people, right? What do we look for when we recruit people? Do we do reference checks? Do we test them? Do we give them 1-month contracts just to make sure that they know what they're doing and they don't develop an attitude once they've signed a long-term contract? 6, finances. Do we have a budget? How do we pay? How do we receive money? How do we reconcile all these things, right? And all those things to have systems and processes in there, right? Okay, so we have identified these 6 things. Great. We need to build systems for marketing, sales, operations, procurement, people, and finances, right? So we have identified those. So we are good. We are good there, right? So what we then need to do is then say, okay, how do we build systems for marketing? How do we build systems for sales? How do we build systems for operations? How do we build systems for procurement? How do we build systems for people? How do we build systems for finances? Right. So marketing, right? we then start saying, this is how we market our business. We go on social media, we go on social media, we buy ads. Maybe we buy ads once a month for 5 days. Write those systems. You have been doing this yourself. Write that down, right? I buy Facebook ads for 5 days. This is my target. This is where I've target. I've placed my target. This is how much ads I buy. And I run that for a week, and I usually buy this ads at the end of the month. So write those steps down, right? So it's a simple process. It's a simple process that you write down. So start with those simple ones that you execute almost as often as possible. So write those ones down, right? And then for marketing, sales, when people have seen our ads, right? They like our ads. They start calling. Now we are getting into sales. They start calling. How do we answer the phone? When do we answer the phone? What do we say when we answer the phone? And how do we communicate with the customers who are calling and inquiring, right? How do we educate them, right? So these are the things that we need to say to them. These are the possible questions that customers may ask, and these are the possible answers that we need to give them. So that we are now into sales. So you start writing down when a person calls, this is what you need to take them through, and the idea is to drive them towards signing, right? So you write down the systems and processes for sales, right? And then you get to operations. Now they've signed, they agree, they're happy, they have signed, they've paid the deposit, right? Now we are entering into operations. We receive, step number 1, we receive confirmation of the order from the sales department. That's step number 1. This is operations now. Operations receive the order from sales. And then step number 2, depending on the type of business you do, you execute. Number 3, number 4, number 5. These are the processes that we follow to execute until you're closed. And then maybe step number 6, once you have closed, it goes to finance for invoicing, for the balance, whatever the case might be. Finance receive delivery order or whatever from the procurement or from the delivery division. And then finance, prepare an invoice, step number 3, send 5, 6, 7, and then collect, right? So you do that step by step, right? For all these 6 pillars of your business. And that's how you develop systems and processes. Now that's what you do. And how then do you do that? Your systems need to be easy. Write them down. They need to be easy to be followed by anyone, right? They need to be systematic. They need to be step by step by step, right? And then they need to be sort of in a sequence, right? Here's step 1. And after you've done step 1, here is step 2. After you've done step 2, here's step 3, step 4, and make it easier for people to follow and to understand, right? That's very, very important, because what in essence you're doing, you're systematizing your business, and you are sort of building this machine that needs to know what to do, when to do, and how to do it, right? So you have the machine for marketing. So the machine for marketing can run on its own, and the outputs of the marketing machine feeds into the sales machine. And here's the sales machine. The sales machine can run on its own, and the outputs of the sales machine can feed into the operations machine. And here's the machine for operations, and the outputs of operations feeds into the procurement and into HR and into finance. So in essence, we are building this machine with each part of the engine or each component being able to run on its own, right? And each component needs to know when to kick in. So the sales machine will not kick in until the marketing machine has kicked in and it starts feeding into the sales machine, and the sales machine will start running. And once the sales machine is running, and then it will start feeding into the operations machine, and the operations machine will start running. And as it's running, there might be things that we need to buy, maybe raw materials, things like that. As the operations machine is running, it kicks into the procurement. It says to procurement, hey, we are running short of stock here and there. please start running, buying stock for us. And as the procurement is running and the operations are running at the same time, maybe operations says, no, we need one more person. It kicks into the HR department. HR department, I need one person who is into this type of a thing. HR machine starts running. It's got its systems. We are looking for a person who can code JavaScript, blah, 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 blah. The HR person vets the person, they do credit checks, they do background checks and everything. And then the HR machine feeds into the procurement. And then maybe the finance machine is also running because it's looking, I need to pay for procurement to buy stock. I need to pay for HR to do background checks. I need to pay for all these things. And then you have this machine that is running on its own. And each department knows where to feed and who to feed and when to feed, right? That's what building systems and processes are. So in essence, as an entrepreneur, you are an engineer. You are building a machine. We just happen to call this machine a business. And what you then do is once you have built this machine and this machine's marketing, ops, sales, right, and how it works, right, you then bring people to come and operate each component of the machine, right? So in essence, you are an engineer who's building a machine, sales machine, marketing machine, HR machine, all those things. And then you bring machine operators to come and run your marketing machine, sales machine, right, procurement, ops, HR, finance, right? These are the machines that you are bringing these people to come and run those things. They are machine operators. But because we want to be fancy, we call them marketing manager. But he's basically a machine operator for the marketing machine. He's basically a sales operator for the sales machine, right? But no. He's a sales business development officer. So we are trying to be fancy. And all these things really, it's basically a machine that is running with components that knows when to feed off to each other. But because we want to be fancy, we call this machine a business, right? And basically that's what you are doing. You are building a business, right? By building the parts of the machine. And what do you do once this machine is running? Your job is to then stand back and make sure that the machine is frictionless, right? So you bring people and colleagues again, people follow systems. You need to have systems first and then get the people. And once you've got the people, you stand back and you make sure that the machine, this engine that you just built, it's got no bugs. So if somebody says, hey, we have an issue at procurement, you go, you fix it. Hey, we have an issue at finance, you go and you fix it. Hey, we have an issue here, you go in. But the idea is this machine is well oiled, it's got enough water, the pressure, temperature, the timing, and everything is perfect. And this thing can run on its own. And you, as the entrepreneur, can stand back and let the machine run on its own. And what you do, you start focusing on the strategic growth. Where can we take this machine? Where can I grow this business to the next level? So you take the same formula that you built for this machine, you replicate it in another part of the country or another part of the continent, and you copy and paste this formula because you're an expert in building this machine, right? And you can copy and paste this machine everywhere else. And then you're able to reach many people. You're able to grow the business. And that is what this is about. It's about growth. Sorry, it's about scaling up, right? And how do you do that? You need to have systems and processes. You need to know how to build systems and processes. Now, I mean, a typical example would be if you go to a mall, right? Any mall, right? You go to the mall. So I go to Maryland Mall. I go to the abolition facility, to the toilet. As you enter the toilet, somewhere in the toilet, and because I understand this, I'm very fascinated. I go and I check, all right? Let's see if I'm the building manager. You'll find somewhere in the toilet a sheet pasted on the wall with times, like maybe you say 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10, 10 to 10:30, 10:30 to 11. So you've got this sheet with the times on one block and another block with the name and another block with signature and maybe also time. And then what happens is the person who's working in the toilets has to check, make sure that the toilet is clean. And once he has checked that the toilet is clean, he marks there, he signs. Yes, I've checked, and this is the time I checked. I checked between 9 and 9:30. He needs to come between 9:30 and 10 to come and check again, right? Because you don't know, some people might have accidents in the toilets and they leave a mess. So he has to come and check. So each 30 minutes, he has to come and check. And we've got a sheet that ensures that he's checked and he has signed, right? So that's part of having a system and a process in place to ensure that the people who are working in the toilets, they keep the toilets clean. One of the other systems and processes that I've seen is with security guards. So in some buildings, for instance, especially with night duty, in some buildings they would have security guards, and they would put some electronic devices on the corners, on the four corners of the building, right? And those things are electronic. So the security guard will have like a electronic gadget, maybe like something like this. It's a steel thing, right? And then at night, what he needs to do, or sometimes even during the day, he needs to go to all these four corners. And as you go to the first corner, there's a magnetic thing where he needs to put this thing at, and then move to the next one, and then the next one, right? If he doesn't do his rounds, then the alarm is going to trip off. Then they'll know that he's not working, he's sleeping, right? That's part of systems and processes to ensure that people are doing what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it, right? So as the security guard is going around the four corners of the building, going and tagging this thing on the four corners of the building, right? He's actually doing his rounds. He's actually checking. And they would have to do that maybe once an hour or once every 30 minutes or whatever. That's part of having systems and processes in place, right? And you, as the owner of the security company, you don't have to be there. Right? You can do whatever, you can go to another site, you can sleep, you can do whatever you want to do. But you know that the security guard, where you have left them, they are doing their work. And that's what this is about. As an entrepreneur, you want to focus most of your time on the strategic direction and growth of the business, right? And not work in the business, troubleshooting, fighting fires in the business. You want to get someone to run the operations for you, to run the whole organization for you, while you are focusing on business development, on maybe driving the organization to a specific destination. That's what you are meant to do. So in conclusion, colleagues, entrepreneurs are basically in the process of building machines that will run in their absence and grow and impact more people. So think of that car, start the engine and get out of the car. The engine is able to run without you, right? Your job, if it stalls, it means there's something wrong in the engine. Open the boot, fix whatever needs to, put oil, put water, start the engine. The engine can run without you. That's what your business should be doing. Run without you. And what you do, you just get into the steering wheel and direct where this business should go to. With that, thank you so much. I don't know if there's any questions, comments. Mr. Moiti.
Yes, I'm sorry, could you please repeat that? My internet keeps bugging.
Oh, no, I was saying, are there any questions or comments? Are you good?
Yes, I'm good. I'm definitely going to give it a try.
Yes,
And
please.
It looks like something that could actually work.
Yes.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm tired of letting people go.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to try something new. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad. Please let me know how it goes.
Definitely. Please share your email with me afterwards. I'd like to keep this going.
Okay. It's ROCHE.
Hang on.
Okay,
Yes.
let me see if I can type it on the chat.
That would be actually better, yeah.
Yeah. Mr. T, I don't know if there's any questions. I'm basically done. Okay, I don't know if Mr. T is here. Is there any other comments, maybe Richmond, that we can discuss, or any questions, and then alternatively we can just close? I'm good.
For now, I am definitely good, because most of the things I want to talk to you about, I'm not comfortable releasing it on the, because the whole world is watching at this point. So yeah, but yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you have seen my email.
Yes, I've seen it, and I'll be in touch.
Great stuff. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And I know I saw Vanessa has excused herself as well. But thank you so much for your time and your inputs. And I'm hoping that we can do a mentorship session at some point if you are keen, but you'll communicate with Mr. Tekere. And thank you so much, Richmond, for coming through, and for being able to actively engage the session.
Yes, and to save you time, I am very much interested in that.
Okay, let's arrange with Mr. Tekere, and
all we have to do is just get Mr. Tekere to just set up a forum for us so that we can do it. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll bother him on my end as well.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.